They wear their hearts on their sleeves here in Colorado Springs, and you can feel it as the 20th ranked Utes come to town. A Mountain West Conference showdown today with college football on Versus. Froman hits it for the Utes. Fielded from the 3. Sneaking through and across the 22. Reggie Rember brought it back. Brought down by Eddie Wide on the special teams tackle. Air Force comes out under the direction of Shea Smith, the senior from Odessa, Texas. He waited his turn to take the wheel. He's a very, very smart runner. You'll see that today. He dashed for 3 touchdowns last week against Houston. And offensive coordinator Clay Hendricks says he's taken care of the ball very, very well for an Air Force team that's unbeaten in the first 3 weeks. They start from the I on 1st and 10. Lumpkin lowers his helmet and runs right into the waiting arms of Robert Johnson, a ball hawk defensively. Lumpkin is adjusting nicely. Newell is dealing with an ankle sprain. Halderman's the home run hitter. Fogler and Madsen fill in for injured starters. On the O-line, they want to cut you down. Charles is one of the best in the conference. Pipes is impressed at center, and Luss consistently grades well. After the pickup of 3, it brings up a 2nd and 7. We're just getting started with you on Versus College Football today, and immediately Air Force asks for a very early timeout.
Something they saw defensively they didn't like, where they were on the field, might have surprised him a bit. He you know, credit him though. How often do you ever see an Air Force kid really make a mental mistake? So I'm gonna credit him on this one and say I think he saw something he didn't like, something that he knew was gonna be a problem for him.
Prowling on the sidelines for Air Force, the reigning coach of the year in the Mountain West Conference, Troy Calhoun, and he says of Shea Smith, he calls him the equivalent of a basketball gym rat. He's always around the stadium. He's always studying film. He's a very, very good leader for his squad.
Absolutely. Hey, Shea Smith, you're too slow. What's he doing? He's working on his footwork. He's working on his speed. Shea Smith can't throw the ball well enough. He's working on his passes. He is a gym rat in the football sense.
On 2nd and 7. Play action. Smith's pass falls incomplete. Defensively for Utah, the front 4 has to be quick today. Fotu is nimble. Misi and Newman are talented and tough. Kruger can be a force. The backers, Sylvester's the rover. Wright calls the shots, and Geisen does a little bit of everything. McCain and Smith on the corners in the secondary are rangy and fast. Johnson is the middle manager, and Dale is a very sure tackler. 3rd and long, these are not good situations for Air Force.
No, but you know what? I wouldn't expect him not to run. I would expect a run here out of him.
The snap was low. The Utah defense was all over it. Stevenson, Sylvester got in there quickly.
Well, they expected a run too, Joe.
Punt.
They expected a run too. It was split backs. They were just going to run a simple fullback midline option out of the shotgun. Unfortunately, a bad snap, and you get in trouble.
Terrell Cole is back deep for Utah. Cole makes the catch. Didn't slip away from the primary tackler. They've tried 5 different punt returners this year for Utah. They've had some difficulties. On offense, the quarterback for the Utes, the man who will make everything go, is a 21-year-old senior from Texas. He's getting better and better with age. His name is Brian Johnson. He's got more zip on the ball this year, a year removed from shoulder surgery, and he's taken pretty well to being one of the conference's marquee performers. Right away, Utah comes out 5 wide. Darrell Mack shifts back into the backfield. Johnson keeps and scampers for 1st down yardage.
Brian Johnson with the keeper, chased out of bounds.
Mack was awesome last year, backs and receivers wise. Godfrey has great hands. Brown and Castile are the go-to guys with plenty of ability. Sampson only seems to catch touchdowns. The offensive line's underrated, but very good. Beatles is a bull. Schlotteroff and Taylor are just sophomores. Connolly and Hensel are the senior leaders on and off the field. After the 1st down pickup, Utah moves into Air Force territory. Swinging it out into the flat, and the defense stiffens quickly. Aaron Kirchhoff came up
Johnson passes complete.
It's a three-man front for Air Force. Paulson's been sack happy. Garland's living a dream, and Kemp creates havoc. 4 linebackers, all been the most seasoned. Reeves is a nice surprise. Lamendola and Morris have figured it out quickly. On the corners, Wright and Rember track you down. Thomas may be their best overall defender in the defensive backfield, and Kirchhoff has a lot of savvy.
Second and long midfield. This is where pressure comes to play.
4 down linemen. Normally an odd man, 3-man front for the Falcons, as Johnson surveys from the gun. Keeps it on the ground. Not a lot of running room.
Matt Asiata
is a bull of a ball carrier who is so good along the goal line.
Well, talking with Coach Kyle Whittingham right before the game down on the field, we talked a little bit about this Air Force team. You know, they're not a pretty team, and they maybe shouldn't be as good as they are, but you know, he says against the run, it's always off color in the gap. It's very tough to run against them.
Kyle Whittingham with a very good record now in his 4th season as the bench boss in Salt Lake City. 3rd down and long for Utah. Johnson with a check with me at the line of scrimmage. Short drop. Good pocket around him. He completes it underneath. But the Falcons were waiting. Lamendola, the middle backer, who is all around the football, got there in time to track down
We
talk about ball carrier Darrell Mack.
We talk about maturity with the quarterback. Now, this is a simple idea. He's got pressure, he steps back, and what's he do? He finds his outlet. Who's his outlet? It's his blocking back. The back understands he's up there, no one comes, he just bounces out. There it is. It's a great way to get yourself 8 yards. It's not enough for a first, but it puts him in a position here to go for it.
Utah has one of the best place kickers in the nation, but Louis Sakota will not come on right now. On 4th and 2, the Utes go for it. Castile in motion. Johnson on a little mini roll, and he is going to be sacked. Chris Thomas wrapped him up.
Brian Johnson was grabbed in the backfield by Chris Thomas. First down, Falcons.
Well, we talk motor on defense. Showed you Chris Thomas. Look at him come up here. He's outside. He gets chopped down, gets back up, makes the play, tries to strip the ball. That's just motor. That's want to. And if anything these Air Force kids have, it's want to.
Defensive coordinator for Air Force, Tim DeRuyter, he says that Chris Thomas is probably the best overall football player on this team. Scoreless, just getting started in Colorado Springs. The University of Utah at 3-0 for the first time since the BCS Bowl Buster season of 04. Coming on the road today to tangle with the Air Force Academy Falcons under the direction of quarterback Chase Smith, who has the eye behind him. They run some misdirection, and off the end around, Halderman gets collared up high. A very good tackle by Joe Dale, who gets there in a hurry.
Well, you know, one thing, Air Force, we say they're going to run the ball, but they're going to give you so many looks, so many formations, so many sets. They're going to make it tough for you to identify where they're going. This is a very easy misdirection play, and they get to the edge. That's
something that Gary Anderson, the defensive coordinator for Utah, was saying. They have more multiple personnel situations and formations this year. Out of a power eye, Smith fumbled the snap from center. Pipes and Smith did not get coordinated there.
Power eye, 3 guys in the backfield, bad snap, but they are up-tempo, Joe. Air Force is getting to the ball and snapping fast. There you go, ball gets up, it looks like it bounces off his hands.
It's one thing you notice if you watch an Air Force Academy practice. In 90 minutes, they probably get 120 reps. They are lightning quick to the line of scrimmage. On 3rd down and 3. Halderman in motion. The pitch. And Halderman gets drilled. Deshaun Richard coming up, not being fooled by any of the misdirection in the backfield.
Well, one of the tough things when you play any type of option team, now, Air Force not always going to be triple option, but they do run option. That was a good example of it. You have to have your safeties close the distance. You have to have your force player get in there and make sure that ball gets cut back to pursuit. Great job right there by Utah.
They bluff that jet sweep. They come straight ahead with it. Ball's down right at midfield.
It did appear that he hit the ground with the ball, but the officials were right on that play, and they give the ball back to Utah.
Corbin Laux, who is the running quarterback, they have some special plays for him. Out of the gun, he came straight ahead.
And that would have been a dad ball anyways. He hit the ground with the ball.
Laux is the third fastest guy on this team. A couple of defenders, McCain and Stanford, can really pick him up and put him down. Give Laux a gain of 11, first down for the Utes. As they go to Darrell Mack. Mack picking up close to 8 off of right tackle. Huge numbers for Mack a season ago. Hunter Altman was there to bring him down to the earth.
Utah did not run the ball well the first couple of series. They come out, they hit a down the middle seam or a little drag to Braden Goffrey. They come back with a large shot outside to try and get to David Reed. What's that do? That puts your safeties back on their heels a little bit, knowing that you're going to go deep. Now the run game's working for him.
Mack, who gained only 25 yards against Air Force last year, picked up 9 there. It's second and short, and Brian Johnson is licking his chops. They come with that fly sweep for Brent Castile, and he gets undercut at the 38. There's a flag down. Anthony Wright contributed the tackle.
Knocked down by Anthony Wright. There is a penalty marker on the play.
Well, they're pointing at Utah here. We'll see what they say.
Illegal formation. 6 men on the line of scrimmage. Utah. That is a 5-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
That's our referee today, Bill Athan.
Well, they caught him there with too many men in the backfield, basically. You got 6 guys on the line. That means they had 5 in the back. And they needed 1 more guy up. If you take a look, here's your 5 linemen and 1. This man right here must step up on the line, or this man must. They have to have one of these 2 guys on the line.
Brian Johnson comfortable again in the shotgun on second down. Utah with the early advantage in terms of the yards gained. No gain here. Hunter Altman with that good speed, tracking down Darrell Mack.
Good speed, but what you notice, he didn't give up on the play. A lot of guys in that position are content to be a contained man running behind and let the guys in front get there. Not him. Look, he's coming all the way backside, and he's hustling, man, and he's diving. That's great. That's determination. That's a good defensive play by Altman.
Hunter Altman, a second-year starter for these Falcons. Quite the prankster, they say. He's the guy who does all the impressions of the coaches, Fisher DeBerry and Troy Calhoun, just to name a couple. Third down, let's call it 7. Falcons showing some pressure from the secondary. Johnson reads it and fires. He's got a man walking into the end zone. Touchdown, David Reed.
Well, they get him on a double move. David Reed on a short stop route, just stops and sits a little bit, and the minute Brian Johnson then moves, he takes off and goes. Great job. He beats Aaron Kirkhoff deep.
A 48-yard strike, giving the Utes the early advantage just past the midway mark of the opening quarter. Louis Sakota comes on for the extra point try. The All-American place kicker and punter. And quite the popular man on campus in Salt Lake City. More on that as this game progresses. Sakota makes no mistake. Utah jumps to the lead on the road. Brent Castile chilling his heels. It's Johnson to Reed for 47 and 7 for the Utes overall.
When you touch down at Hampton, you wake up a winner.
That's right, Tracy. Thanks to their complimentary hot breakfast. Omelet.
Sausage.
French toast sticks.
I love French food and sticks.
Just this room, wall-to-wall in teal.
Exactly.
And, you know, if you got a little extra carpet lying around, there might be a little something extra. For you, honey.
I'll see what I have. Hey, you're home early. What do you think?
Endless refreshment from start to finish. Bud Light keeps it coming.
Very easy, honey.
Hey, look, I know your fancy little gizmo here is going to tell you to take the highway because it seems faster, but trust me, I've been doing this a long time, and I got a little shortcut. The next light, you're going to want to take a look.
Left.
Okay, but here's the part no one knows. You're going to want to take the second
left.
but you can't go straight this time of day, so you're going to want to...
They're right. Park Street.
Park Street is...
Is that a new suit?
With its exclusive IQ routes, the new TomTom Go uses real drive times to calculate the fastest route. TomTom, go confidently.
When you touch down at Hampton, you wake up a winner.
That's right. Thanks for their friendly service.
They even remembered my name.
What is your name?
That you will never know.
Smart move, Tracy.
Seriously, what's your name?
Plenty of fans proud to wear their red today in Colorado Springs, rooting for the Utes of Utah. Just a few moments ago, a 47-yard touchdown pass from Brian Johnson to David Reed, putting the visitors on top. Both of these teams are 3-0. It's the first time in the 10-year history of the Mountain West Conference that 4 teams have been 3-0. BYU and TCU also have that mark, as Reggie Rembert will kneel in the end zone. Let's revisit the touchdown. Johnson with a very good-looking throw.
Great stuff here. What they do is they catch him with a safety up tight. It's going to be a cross. I want you to see that. Look at that. That's a pick right there. It's a beautiful job on the cross. Run it. Look how he comes open. They catch that safety up tight, see? And when that happens, you can get them sitting there next to each other. You run that pick. They hit each other's feet. It's over. You're running free. No way do you catch up if your hips get blocked like that. I don't care how fast you are. You can't turn your hips fast enough and run with David Reed. It's impossible. Well-designed play.
That last scoring drive took just a little over 3 minutes to conclude. And now the Falcons will look to respond. Coming back for Haldeman. Got loose from one tackler, and then a bunch of guys in white came to get him, along with Paul Kruger. As we have some time, let's share it with Tim Neverett.
All right, Joe, after the last series, Clay Hendricks, the co-offensive coordinator for Air Force, had his offensive line on the bench right here behind me, and he was talking to Luskin Campbell, the right guard and center, saying, you guys are missing the linebackers on the option play. Missed assignments early are why Air Force had to punt on that first drive.
They are so meticulous, Tim, with their blocking schemes, and it's something that we're going to talk to Glenn Parker, a former NFL offensive lineman, about throughout the day. They have to be very, very good from an executional standpoint to run it as well as they do. Some trickery here. Doesn't fool Utah. And a huge loss.
I'll tell you, Paul Kruger has sniffed out back-to-back plays, misdirection. What he's done is he's run upfield. He's not bit on pursuit, and he is going upfield. He spots pressure coming at him. Now watch back. When they come back around, you're going to see number 11 there. He's not going to make the tackle, but he's going to turn it. And when he turns it, that allows Robert Johnson, 17, to pursue and get to the tackle. Both times, great job by Paul Kruger setting up the play.
The 18-year-old freshman Jonathan Warzika was tracked down there. They say he has Chad Hall type shake when he gets in the open field. There he had no running room on that reverse.
That is high praise if you were compared to Chad Hall. Let me tell you, that guy should have been on everybody's Heisman list.
Terrell Cole will drop back to midfield. The Falcons have been put under wraps in the first 10 minutes plus. Their ground game has not gotten off to a good start. Whoa, Harrison fumbled the snap, and he's in big trouble as he throws it out of bounds.
He should have never tried to pick up that ball. He should have kicked it right out of bounds and get the safety. It is a safety, but what he should have done is never even tried to pick it up after it was on the ground. When he gets to it, you got to kick it out of bounds. Watch here. He's got it right here. He's going to stoop to pick this up. Worst mistake he could have made. If he's brought down right there, if there's a fumble right there when he's brought down, you're talking a touchdown. Just throw it out the back, kick it out the back of the end zone, get yourself the 2.
Earlier this season, it was Air Force getting a couple of safeties in the same game for the first time in its history. There they allow a safety, and Utah's lead grows to 9, and they'll await the free kick.
We've seen the ball now on the ground 3 times for Air Force. 2 snaps to the quarterback, 1 on a punt. Sloppy play. It's as if they're not focused. It's as if they're looking towards something else. I don't know what it is.
But again, this is a very, very young team. They lost a lot of players from a team that went 9-4 and was second best in the conference last year.
That's true. Very true.
Kyle Whittingham, a coach with enormous respect for the Air Force Academy and all the men in their program. And obviously we concur here at Versus. Every time we are asked to work with the service academies, we come away more and more impressed with these young men and women.
You know, I'm so impressed with the kids. I'm impressed with the parents that these kids are a product of families that enforce this. Absolutely, it's the greatest place to come and do a game.
Free kick taken by the upbacks. Good field position for Brian Johnson and the Utes. Luke Yeager was in there on the special teams tackle. We had the chance to catch up with Coach Whittingham and ask him what's necessary to slow down the option.
The key to defending the option is discipline and assignment football. You know, we got to be a very disciplined defense, because any breakdown at any point in time during a given play, and the thing's going to go about 60 yards on you. So it's the ultimate team defense is what's required to try to combat that option.
And Kyle's gang has been buttoned up nice and tight. Asiata's in the backfield with Johnson. On a crossing route, it's inside of Air Force territory again, and David Reed, who has the touchdown today, just picked up another big gainer. Anthony Wright tripped him up.
Well, what you do when you design a play like this is just a drag route. You've got 4 wide receivers. Guys are going downfield. Now watch, Reed crosses right in front of us. Well, that's a linebacker trying to track down David Reed. That's a mismatch. I got a guy 6'1", 225 chasing behind a guy 197 pounds who's got wide receiver speed. I'm going to win. So I send receivers go, and I drag across with a receiver underneath, and your linebacker can't cover it.
26-yard pickup for Reed, a man who Andy Ludwig, the coordinator offensively for Utah, said, we want to get him more involved. They have. Johnson's pass is deflected. Diving to try and make the catch was Castillo.
One thing that obviously catches you right off the bat when you look at Air Force's defensive line between Kemp, Garland, Paulson, these guys are all 6'5", they're all lean, tall guys, hands up. If they can't get there, their hands are coming up in a picket fence. That's what happens here. That ball gets knocked down.
Looking at the big guys for the Falcons on that front 3. Their goal at the beginning of the year was to create more havoc. Castile in motion. First back through is Asiata, cut down at the 26.
What a changeup. If you're that Air Force defense right now, you're thinking to yourself, all right, we got to get after Brian Johnson because he's throwing on us. Yet we got to keep our safeties back because of that. And now Asiata, one of the big boys, comes running at you. That's a lot of weight coming straight at you.
230 pounds or thereabouts. Very, very competitive. Matt Asiata, whose season ended very early last year with a broken leg in the opener against Oregon State.
Well, I know he's excited to get back in there. And here he is in the quarterback spot.
They work very effectively out of this direct snap for Asiata as he skips his way along the line. He got wrapped up around the waist by Ryan Kemp.
It's really easy. It's a direct snap to your quarterback, well, it's your running back, actually, so it's obvious it would be a direct snap, but then it's a power run. You're pulling your left guard, big Schlotteroff. Caleb Schlotteroff pulls around. And now you're allowing Asiata to read the hole. And when he gets enough time to simply pick his hole, watch out, he's a big guy. He can go right through it.
He scored 3 times like that last week in a rout of Utah State. This time it's the quarterback Louts who ducks in there. There's a flag down.
Well, it was thrown from a position where it's probably going to be a hold on one of the big fellas. So we'll see what they say. Yeah.
Holding. Offense number 66. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay first down.
They give big Robert Connolly the right guard. Now, you know, my guess is he didn't hold. I'm a lineman. I'm biased. I think those guys, they don't have it fair.
Stop protecting them.
They don't have it fair. They're big and they're slow.
They're big enough to fight their own battles. They don't need you protecting them. Come on now.
I just like the big fellas. What can I say?
We all do. Brian Johnson back in there on 1st and 20. Second time Utah's been penalized in this game. Johnson off the pump fake on the go route, going deep, and just a bit long, coming over in the left thrust.
That was picked off as a
great catch.
Brian Johnson did a good job of pump faking, but he did not fool Thomas. And Chris gets over there, does a great job, and I'll tell you, Reggie Rembert's the guy that gets there. Here's your look. There's your pump trying to get your safety out of position, and it doesn't. Look at him. There's Chris Thomas closing ground. He tips it to Reggie Rembert. Oh, that's good defense. And here's another look. Look at that. Just a tip to block away, and enough to get it back to Reggie Rembert. That's a highlight reel in itself right there now.
Reggie Rembert will turn 21 in 3 days, gets himself an early birthday present from Chris Thomas. And now the Falcons will try to gain some momentum, trailing by 9 in the early going. They run straight ahead with it across the 25. Xavier Stevens on the carry.
A big part of their offense is that midline option. That's your first man through the hole. And what they're doing is your quarterback looks at your end. If he crashes, he doesn't give it, he gets going with it. It's a big part of the Air Force offense.
One of the nation's leading teams in rushing annually sends Halderman in motion. Smith giving to the first back through the hole. Stiffening there, Naifotu and Greg Newman.
You know, Joe, you talk about one of the leading teams nationally. They've been in the top 10 rushing nationally 25 of the last 28 years. That tells you they have a commitment to running the ball at Air Force.
Troy Calhoun will be the first to admit that, sure, they've got some 20, 25 passing plays at their disposal coming into every game, but what they do best is run the football year after year.
Yeah, they have to use the run game, the ground game, to open up that attack. Right now, if you take a look at Utah's defense, they're still playing 8 guys tight up into that box.
Smith out of the shotgun to throw. With pressure, he got drilled, floats it up there, and that is going to be intercepted by Bryce McKean.
This is a bad decision by your quarterback. Shea Smith has to know what he's got. Pressure in his face. There were plenty of DBs everywhere he looked. You've got to be smart, eat that ball. Take a look at here. He gets hit, but that ball is thrown from his back foot with no follow-through. That ball just floats up there. Bryce McKean just playing center field at that point. That's an easy pick for him.
McKean, second team All-Mountain West last season. It was Newman who put the hit on. Air Force still without a first down in this game as we are in the dying seconds of this first quarter. Johnson to throw and misfiring for Freddie Brown as we have a chance to send you back to College Football Central and check in with Ted Robinson.
Well, Joe, BYU's first conference game, they pick up right where they left off last week. Max Hall to Austin Collie twice for touchdowns in the second quarter. 27-0 at the half, BYU. Joe?
Ted, it was Max Hall who told us last year his best game was against Wyoming, and apparently this year he's also going to have a good one.
Let's tell Ted he can always throw it back to Joe and Glenn. I'm here too. I just want to be recognized, that's all.
Very well.
Thank you.
As they sweep it around the end. Utah has had the ball the majority of this opening quarter, which has just 50 seconds left in it.
Well, we saw very good quick change defense by Utah. Now it's up to Air Force. How's their quick change defense? You're tired if you're on defense right now. You played a lot. Your quarterback gives up that interception. Can you respond? Can you answer? I think everybody thinks that Air Force is gritty and up to the task. It's now, are they talented enough?
Ryan Johnson with so many weapons as the Falcons are showing blitz. On 3rd and long. Protection breaks down, and they've got Johnson wrapped up. Falcons say it's free, and Air Force has recovered the fumble.
Well, they answered our question, didn't they? Could they respond on quick change defense? They certainly do on a second down, bring pressure, knock the ball out, and get it.
Ben Garland, who's dreamt of coming to Air Force Academy since he was 5 years old. Big number 93 puts the lick on Brian Johnson.
Well, Brian Johnson never saw his outlet. His running back there on Mac bypassed the blitz, and then he gets hit. Ball pops out. Great job, Air Force.
Chris Thomas, who deflected the interception into the hands of Reggie Rembert, picks up the fumble there. He had a fumble recovery against Wyoming in a win in left.
And you get any air under it, it's going to float on you. I could say that wind is going to have more of an impact as this game goes on. That's a big flag, by the way, and it's whipping.
Stands are filling up here at Falcon Stadium. We understand there was an accident on I-25 South causing some considerable traffic delays in and around the stadium, but they're here for homecoming to see Troy Calhoun's squad tangle with the 20th ranked team in the land. Utah, a touchdown pass for Brian Johnson to David Reed, good for 47 yards, and a safety with a lead by 9. Out of the gun, it's Shea Smith calling for motion and giving it to the first back straight up the gut. Xavier Stevens, a 21-year-old sophomore, stopped by Mike Wright and Stevenson Sylvester.
You take a look, Air Force is going to go for it here. They're at 4th and 1. They're coming in, quick snap and getting it done.
They don't give you a lot of time to line up, do they? Sylvester was sprinting to get off the field.
He didn't make it. He didn't make it. They're up at the ball fast. They got in position. Stevenson Sylvester realized, I am not supposed to be on the field. He takes off running, and he is only at the numbers when the ball is snapped, and that linesman flags him fast.
Coaches were saying that Stevenson has really done well adjusting to all the different schemes, when he's in, when he's out. Right there, he was racing to get off the field, and it didn't look like he got there in time.
No, it didn't, but I'm wondering, as we go here.
Substitution, defense. 12 players did not get off the field. Previous spot, 5 yards, results in a first down.
Smart offensive play. You take a look here, you're going to see Sylvester is going to take off running. He's up at the numbers up there. He didn't quite get there. Great job. That's what we talk about tempo with Air Force. They're going to try to fool you.
That'll give the Falcons their first down on the day. Into Utah territory, another flag down.
Well, either it looked like offsides on Utah, but we'll get a call here. Air Force certainly make Utah undisciplined.
Offside, defense, number 10. 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Stevenson Sylvester again, the first-year captain for the Utes. Shortening the field for the Falcons. 4 penalties on Utah in this first half. Xavier Stevens cutting back, keeping the legs moving and getting the first down yardage. Reaching the 32-yard line. Xavier Stevens and Kyle Lumpkin have been together in the same backfield ever since the Air Force Academy Prep School.
See all the guys on the ground for Utah, cutting those big defensive linemen down. Very tough to get yourself off the ground. You get tired as the game goes along.
Spinning back into traffic. Stevens met by Kruger and Sylvester. Glenn, the offensive line for Air Force, they come out very fast and they come out very low.
Yep, they're gonna take a step to the play side. They're gonna cut. Now what that does is, besides taking a defender down, it takes care of about 3 yards of pursuit that defense doesn't have. It opens up gashes in the defense then, and now all of a sudden your gap's big and a linebacker trying to tackle has to go 2 ways.
Utes with a big advantage in terms of total yards. 2nd and 10 here. Motion coming. Shea Smith keeps. Smith swarmed there at the 29. Wright and Sylvester and Koamisi all involved in the tackle.
Well, I'll show you what you have to notice when you watch this play is watch the outside force come from the left side of your screen. That outside force there at his feet, that's what turned him back into all that pursuit. They did a good job, Utah did that time, of understanding pursuit angles, discipline in your gap, and making sure that the option turns back inside.
Falcons trying to convert on a 3rd down situation for the first time today, early in the 2nd quarter on Versus. Smith will keep it. And is stopped shy of first down yardage. Misi and Sylvester chipping in again. Koamisi normally plays an end position. He was moved inside. Gary Anderson wants to get a lot of fast athletes on the field defensively today.
And guys that aren't quite as heavy when they get up off the ground, who can handle this fast pace a little more.
Harrison from 44 on the way and good.
That might have been good from 60. That winded his back. That thing went into the tunnel back there. That's 20 yards back.
He's made 17 of his last 18. He gets Air Force on the board. The lead is trimmed down to 6 on Versus.
45.
We're seeing
5-yard penalty. Still first down.
We're seeing discipline come into play here. The Air Force team, I don't think we don't really need to speak too much about their discipline, but Utah at this point, penalty, penalty, penalty. Extended the drive for Air Force, allowed them to get 3, and now puts themselves in a position where first down looks a long way away now.
Brian Johnson walks back in off the sideline. Corbin Laux was the quarterback on that last play. 1st and long. Castile in motion. Asiata off left tackle. Making the stop there defensively again was Brandon Reeves, a 21-year-old junior out of Georgia.
What a difference when you look at an offensive coordinator for Utah, Andy Ludwig, how mature he is in his play calling at this point. He doesn't try to get back 15 yards on first down. Gets himself 4. He'll try to get 4 or 5 again here, whether it's a dump pass or whether it's a run. But, you know, he didn't panic at 1st and 15. Now he knows he can do a lot of things at 2nd and 11.
I enjoyed listening to him during the week say that we want to get the offensive game greased up, the running game greased up before we go play action. They'll throw here. Godfrey's got it, and he's bear hugged down at the 47. Ryan Kemp made the tackle.
I'll tell you what, if you're Reeves or Lamendola, the two middle backers, you've seen Godfrey now 4 or 5 times across your face, whether he's just behind you in the zone or whether he's right there where you dropped a little too deep. And he's just receiving the ball exactly where Brian Johnson wants to put him. You got to find out some way to stop Braden Godfrey at this time, because he's the guy killing you.
Troy Calhoun was talking to our Tim Neverett yesterday about Ryan Kemp, and he used the expression, he's a poster boy for our program. Such a character, young man.
They
moved the chains here.
Once again, when you talk to these coaches, if they're saying that about Ryan Kemp, how much does that put him above what you would think of a normal, good young man? If you are considered by your coaches to be a poster boy for Air Force football, that tells you a whole lot about what that kid brings to the table.
In the second quarter, it's Boise State.
Air Force, the last on the board. A Harrison 44-yard field goal. Utah maneuvering to midfield now on 1st and 10. 4 wides in the package here. Johnson looking to the boundary and throwing it right on target. A nice touch for Brent Castile.
Well, this is a sail route or a wheel route out of the backfield. You just send your guy going out of your backfield and let him run up the sideline. Here, you take a look. You got Lamendola on him. That's a linebacker, once again, running with a wide receiver. It's very tough if you're defensively if you're trying to stop this team with that type of defense.
22 yards on the completion, and Utah is moving it again. Laux is in there at quarterback. He'll sprint out, looking to throw back to the tight end, Jacques, and he's buried. Hunter Altman was right in his grill.
Well, you talk discipline. Ball goes away. What's Hunter Altman do? He understands, I've got tight end on this side. Tight end comes out, and he is right there waiting on him.
Glenn, while we have a second, let's take a look at our EAS Energy Drink player profile. It is Jake Paulson, a man who will really stir it up on the defensive front.
Well, big kid, #1, when you look at him, 6'4", 255, but you look at last season's number, but already 7 sacks this season. Leads NCAA football. That's the nation, my friend.
Huge advantage in terms of total yards for the Utes. They're looking for more. Wide open on that sideline. Johnson, that pass drifted out of bounds. It's incomplete.
Another well-designed play. Guy out of the backfield, running free. You've got to be there. Brent Castile is too fast to be turned loose on linebackers. And here he is. He's in the backfield, see, and he takes off towards the right side of your screen. Now, it doesn't help that they bring a little bit of a blitz and void that area. And when you void and you let Castile run, if that ball's on target, watch out, it's a touchdown.
Last year, it was Castile being lost for the season with a knee injury against Air Force, a game the Falcons won in Salt Lake City. Utah driving and looking for another score on 3rd and 10. Here comes a blitz from the corner. Johnson over the middle. Godfrey! Incomplete.
How many times do you think we'll say Johnson over the middle to Godfrey? They've already said it 4 or 5 times, and this time they still didn't defend it well. He comes down with the ball, but unfortunately he just drops right there. You got to give Lamendola credit. Puts his left hand in there, knocks it down a little bit.
The coaches will tell you Lamendola has a very big upside, a bright future. One of the interior linebackers, just a sophomore. On 4th and 10, Louis Sakota, an ultra-dependable place kicker, comes on.
Into a very stiff wind, Joe.
48 yards, Glenn, into that stiff wind. On the way, knuckling and drifting, and no good. That was one tough assignment.
Just a little bit ago, we talked about that wind and the outcome it's going to have. Air Force kicks with it and scores. Utah kicks against it and does not.
This brings up a 2nd and long. Just look at the play selection for Air Force. 2 passes on the day. Smith the throw now. Wide open deep. Got his man inside the 20. It's Kevin Fogler getting a jump on Bryce McCain, and they love it in Colorado Springs.
Bryce McCain gets caught looking in the back. into the backfield here. He, you know, he sees the reverse action, and he kind of loses himself. He's right down here at the bottom of the screen. You watch him. His eyes are in the backfield. When this ball, when the pitch is made and it's come around, he suddenly gets beat. You'll see it in just a moment. Great design play. Bryce McCain cannot get caught with a man crossing his face. That's exactly what happened to him. Well-designed play by Clay Hendricks, offensive coordinator for Air Force. Right down the bottom of your screen, watch that corner. He's looking, he's looking. There comes the guy crossing his face. Way too late. You must run with him the entire way. When he didn't, he opened things wide up for that Air Force offense.
Lumpkin off tackle and greeted there quickly. Greg Newman and Sean Smith all around the football. Joe Dale, who was great in the bowl game, or against Navy a season ago, we should say, coming up from his safety position to make tackles. This will bring up a third down for Air Force deep in Utah territory. Smith under center, Andrew Pipes. The fullback dive, close to first down yardage. Wright and Kruger combined to make the stop. Newell getting the carry there.
This is where it gets difficult for the Air Force offense. They are predicated on the run. You're now inside the 10. The amount of ground that you have for all 22 bodies is severely restricted. It's much tougher to run from here in. You need a passing game or a threat of one, and so far they've shown one threat in the passing game.
Fogler to the far side of the formation. Halderman to the near, and it's Halderman in motion in the backfield. Smith leaking out into the flat. Lumpkin makes one miss. Lumpkin, touchdown!
It's as if they listened a little, Joe. You have to have a passing attack right there. You can't count on the run from the 10-yard line in. Great job of misdirection, finding his man Lumpkin. And Lumpkin, how about making a play, making some people miss.
Triggering a happy celebration in Colorado Springs as Harrison tacks on the extra point. Air Force has its first lead on the day with 10 unanswered points. A chance for us to step away. The Falcons with this touchdown pass from Smith to Lumpkin, getting the lead back against the favored Utes.
Make a U-turn as soon as possible. Make a U-turn as soon as possible.
Okay.
Turn right in 500 feet.
Where are you taking
Turn
me?
right.
But
Turn
I did make a...
Turn
Okay,
right.
I'm supposed to...
Turn right. Turn right.
Phillips 66.
Right.
Listen to your car. It'll tell you it wants the hard-working gas from Phillips 66, specially formulated to clean fuel injectors, reduce emissions, and above all, help maximize mileage with every tank. Make your car very happy and help maximize mileage with Phillips 66, hard-working gas.
Now you can slow down and grill with new Kingsford Hickory Charcoal.
Moraes, Marchie, two friends, a world-class rivalry.
It comes down to Adriano Moraes and Guilherme Marchi.
The three-time world champ heads towards his final ride.
Nobody bumps off Adriano Moraes.
His heir apparent looks to finally come out on top.
Could this be the year?
PBR Jacksonville, tonight and tomorrow on Versus, home of the PBR Finals.
At College Football Central, things continue to roll for BYU. Harvey Unga has run for over 100, catches Max Hall's third touchdown pass, 34-0 BYU. Gentlemen?
At 3035 New Center Point Road, visit ITZUSA.com.
Ted, the juggernaut continues, where BYU has won a Mountain West Conference 14 straight at home. Kyle Lumpkin catching his breath on the sideline. The latest man on the board with an 8-yard touchdown catch from Shea Smith. Harrison spins this one 8 yards deep into the end zone. And David Reed will kneel. Brian Johnson now will look to bring his team from behind after this strike. It's Air Force on the lead.
Well, you're going to see all motion goes one way. The back out of the backfield. Safety here gets caught up in the wash, can't make the play. Well-designed play action. Bring it back across the formation, and that safety will never get there. He has to close ground quick. Great move by Kyle Lumpkin to make the move and get into the end zone.
Asiata takes a direct snap. Asiata picking his way along that line of scrimmage, picks up close to 7 as they start with Asiata behind center. On the scoring drive, just over 2.5 minutes to do it. 6 different possessions for Air Force in this first half, Glenn, and a little bit of everything.
Well, they have to have a little bit of everything. They've got, remember, they've got the power run game. They've got the option, the triple option. They got a little play action now a couple of times, and a fake reverse kind of pass long for good. They got to open up their playbook a little.
On 2nd and 3, the Utes content to run the football. Asiata brought down by Altman.
First down, Utah.
Well, don't forget that, of course, Andy Lugway, the offensive coordinator, he knows he's got the wind in his face. He wants to be careful with how much he throws right now based on what he's seen. So if he can pound it out and grind it at you and get a drive and keep your defense rested, because that up-tempo offense that they're facing, he's trying to rest his defense a little bit, help them out, grind it out. Don't be too crazy.
And Asiata is a guy who can punish you between the tackles. On 1st and 10, Brian Johnson back in there. Darrell Mack trapped around the shins by Reggie Rembert. What a season it was for Darrell Mack last year. Second team all-conference, better than 1,200 yards from scrimmage.
Well, he certainly, you know, can look at the quarterback situation and understand how much that helps him. He feeds off of Brian Johnson. When Brian Johnson's successful, he'll be successful.
Utah jumped out to a 9-0 lead. They now trail 10-9 on the road. Brian Johnson goes over the middle. Has a man there, finding Castile, who's very nimble, whether it be from that slot position or from out of the backfield.
Well, when you watch this, watch Castile come in from your left side, and he's going to find a little hole and sit. When he sits, there it is. Now he's just going to head upfield and hope to get a missed tackle. He doesn't do it. But what they're doing right there on those type of plays is you're sending a man into a zone, find that window, and sit down and wait. Brian Johnson's going to find him, and right there he did.
Kyle Whittingham says Castile is back from that knee injury better than before. He brings so much personality to this Utah offense. 5 in the pattern now. Johnson pulls it down and now has to escape. The ball is free. Picked up on the run, and it's a cakewalk for Jake Paulson. The Mountain Man brings Air Force another touchdown.
Great job. You know, we talk about discipline and grit. Here's Johnson. He's looking. He's got nothing. Now he'll run, but watch the effort from the backside to knock that ball out. Out it comes, and there's Big Jake grabbing it and running. Not going to get caught. That's understanding, going after the ball. Don't give up on a play. All those things we talk about with Air Force.
Whoa, trouble. A botched extra point try will keep the score 16-9. Air Force has won 9 of its last 10 regular season games.
How huge is that? It is now a 7-point game. We'll take a look at this snap. It's a good snap. It's a bad hold. The ball hits the holder perfectly where it's got to be. And if you can't come up with that, there's a problem.
Utah's fumble caused by number 90, Ricketts.
Brandon Geyer is the holder there, and he, you know, unfortunately for him, he loses the handle on it. Now, and never forget, we were down at this end before with the bobbled snaps. Down at there's a lot more wind at that end of the stadium than there is at the other.
Rick Ricketts caused the fumble. Paulson took it in from 25. They're doing more push-ups on the Air Force sideline. Joe Beninati, Glenn Parker, Tim Neverett with you in Colorado Springs today on Versus. Closing in on the halftime. Our Craftsman halftime report. Ted, Rowland, and Kelly checking in on BYU, thrashing Wyoming today. An update on the Pac-10, and they'll continue with more comments from this one this afternoon. All of a sudden, Air Force has rallied back with conviction. Wesson and Reed are back deep. And again, this one soars over the head of Reed. It'll be another long field for Utah. 3.5 to go in this opening half. Ryan Harrison, who's been money in the bank from a place-kicking standpoint for Troy Calhoun, had to be a little miffed that they did not convert. On the other side, Kyle Whittingham, a man who is very, very fond of the defensive side of the game, now as the head coach in his 4th year. He'll put his trust in Brian Johnson to rally him back again.
And I'd allow Brian to throw a little more. He's done fine in this one. It hasn't really affected him that badly.
Fans getting noisy here at Falcon Stadium. Asiata turned back and ran right into the waiting arms of Andre Morris. 19-year-old linebacker. He just has the look of a Division I player, so says his defensive coordinator, Tim DeRuyter.
Yeah, a young kid who's big. He looks like a football player, but on that play, really, you look at Ryan Kemp and Hunter Altman on the front side. They're the one that turned that play back. And when you can do that, then you allow your athletes to run and pursue.
Let's see if Johnson goes to the air on 2nd and 10. Johnson flushed out. Doesn't get much before he gets cut down. Altman makes the tackle. Tim Neverett has more from the sideline.
You know, when you watch these two teams warm up, Air Force does not pass the eyeball test. They're not bigger. They're not stronger than their opponents from week to week. But Troy Calhoun told us yesterday that these guys just don't believe the fact that they're not as good as everybody else. He even thinks his team is too young at this point in time. But he said, don't tell those guys out there in the field. And right now, they can play with anybody, it seems.
Yeah, he was preaching to us a little bit yesterday, Tim, about how good his team could be 2 or 3 years down the road. Last year was just the 3rd ever undefeated season at home for Air Force. Asiata banging off of tacklers and dropped shy of first down yardage as we reach 2 minutes to go in the opening half.
Andy Lowood thought he might get away with one there and spread him out a bit and let Asiata, the big back, bounce around. Now they're faced with the decision. 4th and 3, they're going to call a timeout. They're going to talk about it, see where they're at. 2 minutes here. Well, if you're Utah, I think you punt and say, I don't think you can run the ball enough to beat us in 2 minutes.
Fans, on any given Saturday, anything can happen. Versus college football next Saturday into the home of the 12th man. The A&M Aggies taking on the Black Knights of Army. Versus college football next Saturday. Coverage begins 12:30 Eastern. It's wild out here. Going to College Station. All those great traditions. And now Mike Sherman, the head coach for Texas A&M.
And I think the fans of Texas A&M got to be excited. It hasn't happened for them yet, but you know, Mike Sherman brings a certain maturity and a certain and obviously familiarity with the traditions of Texas A&M. He understands what he's got there.
He's really embraced them. He's had the football team a lot more involved in them. He felt at times there that the football team was getting a little bit away from the student body. He wants to bring them back together this year.
Well, remember, he's coached there a couple times, so he's very integral part of that community.
Utah has gone scoreless its last 4 possessions. They're going to punt here. 2 minutes and change away from the Craftsman halftime report. Stay with us. We'll be turning things over to Ted, Rowland, and Kelly at College Football Central in a matter of moments. Sakota ready to punt into the wind. Sends this one soaring high. Rembert at the 23. Dodging a tackler and then getting drilled to the turf. Braden Godfrey was right there to eat him up.
Well, Lou Sakota into a stiff wind puts a deep kick. That's why he's on the list for all the big awards. That's why he is who he is, because when you're in a situation, you're facing 7-point deficit and you need a punt that says your defense now can play, you have to have that into a stiff wind, and he gets it done.
You're talking about King Louis?
About a punter, I am. I'm talking about a punter. Hard to believe, I know. It's just a punter. But I like a punter. He's your best defensive player sometimes. Never forget, a punt is sometimes a good thing.
On 1st and 10, they run from the eye. Xavier Stevens outside. Gang tackled. Naifotu was the first man to put a hat on him.
Well, this play was beat up by Joe Dale. Joe Dale was the force man. He came up and forced everything back into pursuit. Never forget, you know, there's terminators and determinators. You're the guy that, if you determine where the ball goes, that allows somebody else to come and terminate the play.
12 tackles in the bowl game against Navy for Dale as we look at Fotu, hands on hips. The youngest of 12 children in the family, Naifotu. 113 away from our Craftsman halftime report. A spirited comeback from the Air Force Academy. Looking for more now late in the half. On the pitch play. Close to first down yardage. Xavier Stevens was knocked out of bounds by Deshaun Richard.
Yeah, Deshaun hits him hard. I think they're going to listen to it here. Took a little tumble there. Had some momentum going when he got hit.
22-year-old senior out of Las Vegas. Made his first career INT last week in that win over Utah State. Straight ahead.
Kyle Lumpkin, the ball carrier.
I don't think he made it. According to the linesman on this side, it looks like he's maybe short a half a football length or so.
Tried to pound Lumpkin inside. Meese and Johnson were there.
Well, I guess they gave it to him. Kyle probably wondering what happened in the spot himself, but that clock is ticking.
Troy Calhoun coaching him all the way to the end of this half and working hard on that sideline.
Well, you wonder when Air Force is going to try something. They're going to have to try a play-action pass here, something soon. 58 seconds to get into field goal range or score a touchdown.
In the meetings with us yesterday, Coach Calhoun was saying, don't you worry. We have a few surprises up our sleeves today.
Well, we've seen a few. We've seen a play action out of the backfield that is a fairly common play for most teams, but not for them.
To abort a first down. There's no timeout charge to the University of Utah. First down.
Well, we see what happened there. They stopped it after the first down, and someone decided to charge Utah a timeout.
Strange game to some degree. Both defenses have scored today. Utah a safety. Air Force a fumble recovery touchdown. Smith coming on a reverse here on the flip, and that does not fool Paul Kruger, one of the conference's best at defensive end.
Kruger understands. I got somebody coming back at me. I must maintain my integrity. I've got to climb the mountain. I got to get upfield, turn it back. He's been in position 3-4 times now on any type of reverse or action back at him. Great job.
We're late in the half. I want you to talk about climbing that mountain in the second half. Once more, the Craftsman halftime report soon to come. BYU is doing it again in Provo. Smith to throw. Lofts it up there, and it hangs and flutters out of bounds. Fogler was the intended target.
Nothing wrong with that. He threw it where only his man could catch the ball, way outside and over his shoulder.
Final 9 seconds of the first half as Fogler jogs back. Air Force without perhaps its best deep threat today. Spencer Armstrong ailing a bruised shin after recovering an onside kick last week against Houston. Didn't practice this week, so Armstrong will not be in the lineup today. One more time from that power eye. Keep it nice and simple, and Air Force will carry a first half lead with them to the dressing room. Utah, the 20th ranked team in the nation, came out and scored the first 9 points. But Air Force, in front of a homecoming day crowd at Falcon Stadium, rallies back for the last 16 points of the half, and they've got the lead and they look sharp.
They do look sharp. You know, the thing is, they look disciplined, and that's what we always talk about. They haven't given up their game.
And the game clock.
Uh-oh.
Air Force, back out.
Back out. You've got 3/4 of Utah in the dressing room tunnel.
Well, this is odd. Another strange game. 2 seconds left.
Thank you.
At least the Falcons were somewhat on the field. Utah has, honestly, 40 guys in the dressing room.
This game gets a little more odd as we go.
The Utes making their way back out as they have 2 seconds of time left in this opening half. I've heard of a false start, but that's a false finish to a half.
They're making them snap this ball, and maybe they're hoping there's a fumble or...
What's that $10 word? A perfunctory last snap.
Wow, that is a big word. Even for you, you have a great vocabulary in that.
I just looked it up. Grab the dictionary in time. Shea Smith will just kneel with this. Or will he? Finally he does. Trust me, the first half is complete now. And Air Force takes the advantage with them to the dressing room on top 16.
University of Arizona, and at that time he was only able to call a couple of checks. Now he's able to call up to 90% of the protections at the line of scrimmage and has the green light to change half the plays or more at the line of scrimmage.
Tim, he came in with a reputation of not taking sacks. He's been wrapped up a couple of times as Asiata goes off tackle. Hunter Altman was a busy boy in the first half, and he starts with another tackle here in the third.
The first drive of the third quarter for offense, for defense, for either team is the most important drive of the game. So right here for Utah, the most important drive of the game. The next one, when Air Force, it'll be the same thing. Why? Because you have to set the tempo coming out. If you're on offense and you can set the tempo, get a drive going, change field position, very important.
Air Force doesn't give you much to start a half. On 2nd and 7. Johnson with a cocoon around him. He's got Castile inside the 20. Castile brought down to the 11. First down deep in Air Force territory. Thomas saved the day. Castile was sniffing the end zone.
Brian Johnson, a good job here. You watch where he's sitting in this pocket. Underneath was taken away, but the next level, Castile crossing over the middle once again. Good job of getting it, finding the seam and running. You know, it's so important right now. Brian Johnson has to look at that number 2 and that number 3 receiver. Air Force defense doing a good job.
College football, Mountain West Conference football on Versus. Corbin Laux is in there, quarterback draw. Laux lowering the shoulder, bouncing off of tacklers. Kirchhoff and Garland were there to put a helmet on. Corbin Laux got injured in the Michigan game. Had an 8-yard touchdown run, hurt a shoulder. He's missed the last couple of weeks, but he's back in there to sub Brian Johnson from time to time.
Only a matter of time till you see him throw the ball. Now Brian Johnson's back in the game here.
Sampson's the H-back on 2nd and 7. Mack walking into the corner for the touchdown. Darrell Mack with a cakewalk.
Well, here you go. It's a little pull. Caleb Schroeder off around there. Colt Sampson blocking. Colt Sampson might get away with hands outside there, but that's what you're talking about. Your left guard with a big pull out in front. You like to have Colt Sampson, your tight end, blocking down there. Good job of Darrell Mack getting outside and, as you said, waltzing in.
Sakota kicking with the wind at his back here in the third quarter. Chips it on through. And Utah draws even with Air Force. There is a flag down. As Mack accepts the congratulations on the bench, we hear from Bill Athan.
During the try, holding 45 on the try team. That is a 10-yard penalty. Replay the try.
Well, they got away with one maybe on the touchdown run. He doesn't get away with one on the PAT. Colt Sampson's called for it. Now, there's a little change here now. A little longer. That wind is still whipping. It can affect the ball. This is a big extra point here to tie the game.
Louis Sakota, the former walk-on, walked on and walked all the way to All-American status. Trying to tie it up again. And he does, hooking that one through. Kyle Whittingham wanted Utah to score swiftly to start the third. Darrell Mack had 4 carries on that trip, including the 8-yard sprint for the score.
I'm really gonna enjoy this. Because I have 60 seconds to tell you how a certain company has done me wrong. I'm talking about your cable company. They led me on, told me I'd save all this money by bundling my services together, and that nothing would change. Turns out, I didn't get the channels I really wanted, so I dumped them for DirecTV. The deal I got was amazing. I'm getting more than 265 channels free for 4 months, including over 30 premium movie channels like HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, and Stars. So pick up the phone. It's DirecTV's best offer of the year. So how could I refuse? Call now and get all this free for 4 months. If you're in a bad cable relationship, move on. Just call and switch. With DirecTV, there are no startup costs and no equipment to buy. Plus, you get a free HD DVR upgrade. Time's up. Dump cable and switch to DirecTV.
Ben Gorman will kick off.
4 minutes into the third quarter and a brand new ball game in Mountain West Conference play today. Utah and Air Force deadlocked at 16 apiece. The guys back at College Football Central, Ted Robinson and Roland Williams and Kelly Stoffer, talking about the conference action. They were also paying close attention to a couple of games going on in the Pac-10. Today, these two teams going after one another. Air Force head coach Troy Calhoun, he's been around in the coaching profession, and we asked him recently what he learned about himself and his team last year.
Well, I don't think you ever stop learning. And then the other part is just how imperative it is to get to know your players exceptionally well. Certainly to know their strengths from a skill standpoint of what they can do, and make sure you coach accordingly. But as people also to find out what really makes them move and tick.
Coach Calhoun's offense was really clicking as the second quarter progressed. Let's see how they do here in the third as we approach the 5-minute mark. It is a vastly different Air Force team this year, Glenn.
Well, 15 starters, as you see this graphic right here telling you, but the top 6 rushers, top 2 receivers, your quarterback, that takes a toll on your offense. But so far, they've gotten done what they needed to get done.
Coming down the line on the option, and Shea Smith got tripped up. Greg Newman, who has done a great job of being a self-made solid player in the eyes of his defensive coordinator, makes the stop.
Well, you see him right there. He gets back in his feet. That's just leverage. He's underneath the offensive lineman, and he's pulling his way down there.
Glenn, you always talk to me about pad level. That was a really good example of it.
Absolutely. That's what we talked about. He got his pad level under the offensive lineman, used that leverage, and pushed straight backwards. Joe, you're learning. You're listening to me. I love it.
I'm trying, big fella. I hear that voice in my sleep. On 3rd and 9, plenty of motion. Shea Smith gives it to the first back through. Lumpkin was running in better rhythm as the first half was coming to its conclusion. Mike Wright helped out on the tackle. Wright with the great off-season work ethic, it really paid off for him.
Well, you see Air Force did not answer back on that first drive of the third quarter for them. So now you've got this even game. Now serve is held by Utah.
Harrison will run away for some pressure and sky this one. Terrell Cole trying to get up there for the fair catch. Did it hit him? As the Falcons cover up, there's a flag down. Punt returning for Utah has been an adventure in the first 3 weeks. Kyle Whittingham at one point, the head coach for the Utes, called it embarrassing. They chose Terrell Cole to go with it today.
They wanted to make a decision. They said they want it changed. Now, Terrell Cole's waving the fair catch. They're probably yelling poison here. Everybody's got to get away. He gets taken out by his own man there. This ball bounces.
There's no foul in the play for kick-catch interference. The player was blocked into the receiver.
And that ball did bounce off of Air Force, not Cole. So good decision all the way around.
Just getting going with quarter number 3. We'll have you back to Falcon Stadium in a moment for more on Versus.
College football is over, man. Over? Football's never over with CBS College Sports. But was it over when Appalachian State beat Notre Dame?
Wasn't that Michigan?
Forget it, he's rolling. And it ain't over now. Who's with me?
Get more college football on the CBS College Sports Network.
What would you do if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you
At Hampton, we love having you here.
Gillette, the people who know men best. Introduce Gillette High Performance Shampoo, engineered with charged cleansers that attract dirt and oil, empower them away for a charged clean that lasts all day. New Gillette High Performance Shampoo. Take charge of your hair.
Definitely a change in the color of the cloud cover here above Falcon Stadium in the last 5-10 minutes. Sure looks like some weather is moving in.
It sure does. Hey, you're in the front range. They say it can change instantly here.
Fans enjoying a homecoming Saturday. We're glad you've tuned in with us for college football on Versus. Joe Beninati, Glenn Parker upstairs. Tim Neverett is roaming the sidelines during this Mountain West Conference clash. Brian Johnson. Matt Asiata was the man who took the direct snap, brought down after a gain of 4. Here's Tim Neverett with word on the normal Utah quarterback.
Yeah, Brian Johnson on the same sideline I am right now, but he's going back into the game. After they scored that last touchdown, Joe and Glenn, what he did was he came over to the sideline and talked to the offensive line who are all gathered together. He said, guys, you got to keep pushing. You have to keep pushing them around. Now we got it where we want it. Don't give up. Keep pushing them, and we can win this game. He is definitely a leader on and off the field.
So much more mature, as you were talking about how wide-eyed he was when he first took the helm for Utah. Out of the gun, the handoff, and this is a huge hole. Asiata roaring inside the 30, deep into Air Force territory. And the Utes are clicking offensively. Reggie Rembert tracked him down.
The untold story of that play is Jerome Brooks, number 85 down here at the bottom of your screen. Watch him come up and lead the blocking right there in front of you, 85. He takes 1, 2, now he gets a third, 10 yards due to Jeremy Brooks getting that done.
28 on the total pickup for Asiata, who will wear you down over time. Straight ahead. Ugh. Shoulder-to-shoulder contact. Big hit from the linebacking core on Asiata. Brandon Reeves, who spent the summer of '07 in Italy. So many of these Falcons spend their Operation Air Force time in the summer all over the world. They are well-traveled. Utah averaging almost 7 yards per play today, and yet still involved in a 16-16 game.
Shows you what 3 turnovers can do to your average. You have a good-looking average, but those turnovers will kill you.
Brian Johnson orchestrating at the line of scrimmage. He's got 3 in the pattern. Here comes a blitz from the corner. Johnson tied up. Reggie Rembert came like a blue streak from his corner position.
2 things. First, your tackle must stay on the block. I don't care if you're going against a small guy, you stay with him and you push him past. That's Zane Beadles here, number 68. See, he sees it, takes him, stay on that block. Don't think you're going to knock him down because you're big and strong. Number 2, your quarterback, Brian Johnson, has to have a clock in his head. They're coming after me. It's 2nd down and long at midfield. I am going to get pressure here. It's situational awareness. 2 things happen, conspired there. Brian Johnson goes down.
Brian Johnson doesn't go down very often. That's the 3rd sack today for Air Force. It brings up a 3rd and long. Johnson, no time to throw. Buried in the backfield again. Chris Thomas and the Falcons secondary coming to life.
Well, this time it comes from the other side, and your other tackle getting beat. Again, we talk about motor and want to with Air Force. They're not the biggest, they're not the strongest or the fastest, but they're going to keep coming after you. Great job, great defensive stand by Air Force.
Louis Sakota jogs in from the sidelines. He does both jobs. He's the punter and the place kicker, setting up for what could be and would be a career best. This is a 55-yard attempt. He made one from 53 against Michigan.
He's got the win.
Snaps good, holds good. On the way and hooking, no good.
Plenty of distance. He would have gone 10 yards further. Unfortunately, as you said, the hook.
Louis Sakota, so reliable. Air Force fans are pleased. The Utes and the Falcons, and Air Force defense comes to the rescue.
Get inside the heart and soul of college football with the CBS College Sports Network.
I'm fired up about this college football season.
Live games featuring bowl contenders.
Rack it up, another score. To the ground, over the shoulder, touchdown.
Exclusive inside access to hundreds of teams. Recruiting expertise, and more.
When you've got Division I prospects, word gets out in a hurry.
Get more college football 24/7 on the CBS College Sports Network.
The Suzuki SX4 Sport has a unique pop-up Navi system, a roomy cabin, 30 miles per gallon highway, and more horsepower than the Honda Civic LX, all for under $16,000. So we can pretty much assure you'll have a great time in it. Once you're out of it, you're on your own. The Suzuki SX4. Live large, drive small. Suzuki.
When you're looking for the most exciting brand of college football, you're looking for a place where every game is affected by the 12th man. Anything can happen.
For the second week in a row, the number 2 team has gone down right here on Versus.
And the only guarantee is that there are no guarantees. Versus college football. Army at Texas A&M next Saturday at 12:30.
Will Marias pass the torch to Marchie? PBR Jacksonville, tonight and tomorrow on Versus, home of the PBR Finals.
In what is shaping up to be a really good finish today, 16-16 Utah and Air Force. The Falcons get the football back. You think about it, if BYU, Utah, and TCU all win in week 4, the Mountain West could very well have 3 teams ranked in the top 25 for the first time in league history, and for the first time since the BCS was created in '98. That's a big if with the way Air Force is playing today.
Well, it is a big if. You're absolutely right. But, you know, you have to, the Mountain West has done exactly what they needed to do. They've scheduled tough non-conference opponents. They're getting out there and they're playing and they're getting noticed. You look at this, 4 big winners there.
BYU rolling today. Ted Robinson and friends talking about Max Hall's productivity again as Lumpkin goes off tackle. Greeted by a horde of defenders. Mike Wright, last man to unpile.
Well, Clay Hendricks not varying much from his stated goal. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball. We'll have a play here and there to pass it. And that's if you're Utah. That's what's so hard, because you've got to be disciplined in your gaps, but yet you still need to pursue the ball. It's tough to play a team like this.
On 3rd and 5. Option. Lumpkin lowering the shoulder to midfield and rattled out of bounds.
He was knocked out of bounds a little early. He's short by about 2 yards.
Knocked out of bounds by Mike Wright.
Get a good look here as it comes to the left of your screen. Here's Shea Smith. He'll pitch off the force man. Now watch this. He's going to step out of bounds right there with that inside foot. That cost him a first down.
First down for Air Force.
If he understands where he is on the field and makes the cut, he gets the first down.
Shea Smith with a laser-like stare to the sideline looking for the play call on 4th down. Coach Calhoun is going to punt.
Some of the players exhorting him to please go for it, go for it, go for it.
Now the Utes hustle in there to get their punt return team on, and we hear a whistle.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
Didn't make that decision quick enough.
And the delay of game will back Air Force up.
Gerald Cole. Ryan Harrison is the Air Force punter.
Terrell Cole looking for instruction. Harrison again does that little dance and then hits the pop-up into the wind. It goes nowhere. It'll nestle out of bounds just inside the 35. Folks, hockey's back. Versus drops the puck on the new season, October 9th, an NHL doubleheader. Opening up in Hockey Town, the reigning Stanley Cup champion Red Wings facing the Toronto Maple Leafs. And then it's out to Colorado where the Avs host the Boston Bruins. The NHL on Versus, coverage beginning October 9th.
Hey, it's exciting time for you, Joe. We were in the field house at the Academy yesterday. A little hockey going on, some noise, and sticks slapping around, and you got all excited.
Very much so. It'll be good to see Joe Sakic back again, the Hall of Famer in waiting for the Avalanche. Signing up for another year in the offseason as Brian Johnson goes back to work for the Utes. Finds his man there, that's Freddie Brown, crashing near midfield. Lamondola was the first man to hit him.
What a smart play, not only by Brian Johnson, smart call by Andy Ludwig. Already, field position is yours. One play into the drive, you've got field position now, so when you punt with that wind, if you have to punt, you put Air Force way back.
They're pleased this year with Freddie Brown. More urgency in this his senior year as Asiata comes in for Johnson and looks like he's ready to take that direct snap and plow his way straight ahead. Asiata, his knee comes down at the 46.
Hunter Altman coming up from that linebacker spot does a great job of getting into the feet and making Asiata cut, and that's why Brendan Reeves is there to make the tackle just a little bit down because of a smart play by your front side backer, Hunter Altman.
Asiata, former junior college All-American at Snow College. Working dependably in Brian Johnson's backfield along with Darrell Mack as Johnson scans the line of scrimmage. Blitz coming. Johnson got it out of there quickly, right on target again. Rembert.
The weakness so far with Air Force's pass defense has been down the middle of the field, just behind the linebackers. It has been a constant for them. Brian Johnson keeps finding it, but every time they're stopped, it's because Air Force does such a good job of coming up, taking both levels away, and making Brian Johnson pull that ball down.
Brown with his second consecutive catch. Utah, in terms of total offense, a 3-1 advantage over Air Force, yet we're tied. Asiata looking for a hole. Undercut there by Reggie Rembert, who came up.
Air Force Academy kids coming up, hitting hard. What do we know? They're gritty, they're not giving up. But you have to wonder, how many times is the size of Asiata, the size of the offensive line of Utah, going to affect them as we get moving? How many times are they going to get hit, and is it going to just get to where you're like, man, we can't take anymore?
When they beat Wyoming in Laramie, that defense forced 5 turnovers. They forced 3 today from Utah as the Utes are driving it deep again. 2nd and 6. Johnson finding his tight end Sampson, and he rumbles down close to the 20. Here's Tim Neverett with more from the sideline.
Defensive coordinator Tim DeRuyter is one of several alumni from the Air Force Academy on Troy Calhoun's staff. In fact, when Troy got the job, he said he was contacted by over 200 coaches, even some other alumni. But they feel it's much better for this program to have more alumni on the coaching staff when they start talking about recruiting. And more importantly, when these guys start going through the rigors of being an Air Force cadet, they can tell them, you guys can handle it. We did. It's a big factor.
There's so much validity to their recruiting trips when they go in and see mom and dad and say, you know what, I know what you're thinking, and we know what your young man is considering. We've been there.
You know, you're so right. And think about this. I know as a player, whenever a coach talked to you about, well, you should do it this way or that, if that coach hadn't been there, he automatically lost a little something. These coaches, so many of them have been through the rigors, have done what it takes to be an academy football player. You'd have to respect them right off the bat if you're one of their players.
2nd and 6. Brian Johnson trying to get Utah back in front. Drifting and throwing into coverage. Godfrey has it surrounded. He made a good catch there with Brandon Reeves all around him. Brian Johnson in this second half has been very accurate, 6 for 6.
Right, once again, down the middle, here you go. Braden Godfrey right there, just a little stop in the window and turn. Ball was on him very fast, comes up with it 1 or 2 short of that first down mark. He got his body over the line, but didn't, when he had to come back for the ball, pulled himself away from the yard marker.
Godfrey will go to the far side of the formation on 3rd down and short. And the volume rises in Colorado Springs, so much so that Utah is going to take a timeout. We are 16-16 in this one. Brian Johnson wants a word. We can share one too with Ted Robinson at College Football Central.
Well, Michigan State shutting out Notre Dame until the first play of the fourth quarter. Jimmy Clausen hits true freshman Michael Floyd, whose catch puts Notre Dame back in the game, 13-7. Gentlemen.
Some very interesting football games going on around the country, Ted. We heard you and Kelly and Roland talking about the UCLA-Arizona game, the Oregon-Boise State game. Plenty of good stuff this weekend.
Yeah, there are some good games out there. Obviously, later tonight, Georgia traveling out to Arizona State for a big game. They don't normally travel for out-of-conference games, and they did here. And then don't forget the LSU-Auburn game as well.
Bringing it back to the Mountain West, what a nice win that was for UNLV and head coach Mike Sanford to go out there and upset the Sun Devils.
A huge win for that program, a step back for the Sun Devils. You know, UNLV, Mike Sanford, he was so emotional after that game, rightly so. They needed a win like that to put their program on the map. Great win for them, great win for the Mountain West Conference.
Brian Johnson leans in for a word with 20-year-old sophomore Zane Taylor, his center, on 3rd and short. An aggressive run right straight ahead. Darrell Mack brings up 1st and goal now for Utah on the move.
Enough misdirection to get your linebackers flat-footed, and enough power out of your left side of the line, Zane Beadles, Caleb Schlotteroff, and Zane Taylor, your center, to get some push and open things up for you.
We need to step away and catch our breath. We'll get you back for the continuation of this Utah drive in a moment.
Call them overlooked. Call them giant killers.
East Carolina over West Virginia. Believe it, folks, it's not going to be an upset. East Carolina is the better football team.
But don't call them Cinderella. Nationally ranked ECU is on a mission to prove that they belong with the big boys.
East Carolina, they will get it done.
Watch East Carolina take on Houston, only on the CBS College Sports Network. Check your local listings.
My name is Vern Troyer. I live in Hollywood, California, and I'm a mage. I'm master of the arcane. There are 10 million players in the world of Warcraft. It's huge, like my mage. I'm Vern Troyer, and I'm a mage. What's your game?
World of Warcraft, the #1 online game. Try it for free at warcraft.com. If you plan on building, furnishing, or remodeling your home, or you're just tired of paying retail, don't spend another dollar. Now, you can enjoy an incredible selection of top-quality, name-brand products priced up to 50% less than retail. Take the first step towards saving hundreds or even thousands of dollars on nearly anything for your home. Call for your free Direct Buy Insider's Guide to Buying Direct and learn what retailers don't want you to know. Each full-color page of the Insider's Guide is packed with powerful information. Discover some of the hundreds of thousands of products available from over 700 name brand manufacturers. Everything, including furniture, cabinets, appliances, flooring, lighting fixtures, and so much more, all without retail markups. At Direct Buy, you can't afford to miss this valuable opportunity. Call the number on your screen now to get your own Direct Buy Insider's Guide. You'll also receive a visitor's pass and map to the Direct Buy showroom nearest you. The sooner you call, the sooner you'll be buying direct. So call now.
Plenty of heavy hitting in this one. 3-0 Utah against 3-0 Air Force. The Utes have beaten Michigan, UNLV, and Utah State. And in front of those bathed in blue today, trying to add Air Force to that list, driving deep into the Falcon territory. 1st and goal. Mack carving between tacklers to the 2.
Darrell Mack in the ball area, knocked down by Aaron Kirkhoff.
Kirkhoff was there for the tackle, a guy who's been nursing a shoulder this week.
Something to look at as well. Robert Conley, the starting right guard, is out. Corey Seuli is in. Now, you got it whenever you're down here like this, where it's noisy and you've got cadence issues, a guy who's not used to being in there every snap, that can cause problems.
Ryan Johnson under center. Mack hopping to the inside, and he got stacked up. You mentioned Corey Sayuli, Glenn. He was battling Caleb Schlotteroff for the job at left guard all preseason.
They said it was very close, but he comes in at right guard. Get a look here. Everybody's cutting. Good job, Darrell Mack in. Unfortunately, lost pad level in there, got too high and gets knocked back.
Third down and goal.
Third down and goal from the 1. Tight formation. Johnson called his own number and he didn't get it. The Falcons, another great goal line stand to this point.
You have to love the pad level, the intensity. They get low and they attack the gaps and come right through. Look at all those blue on that side of the line. That's winning the line of scrimmage. That's winning pad level and leverage. Boy, that'll get you, won't it?
The game was decided last year in Salt Lake City by an Air Force goal line stand. Can they duplicate it again early in the 4th today? Fans rising to their feet on 4th and goal. Johnson, option, nice pitch. Timing was beautiful for Darrell Mack. All about execution there.
Timing and design. That's the thing, you know, beautiful timing, great execution to put the ball out there, but think about the design of this play. You've gone 3 straight times into the heart of that defense. This time, everybody knows Robert Johnson can run, Brian Johnson can run that ball. What do? Little pitch, well designed, well thought out play.
A very classy finish to a business-like drive as Louis Sakota comes on in an attempt to make the lead 7. Halderman comes in motion. Smith, the throw from his own end zone into the flat. It's dropped out of bounds. Tim Neverett has more on Paul Kruger.
Yeah, Joe, back on the 19th of January, defensive lineman Paul Kruger and Chris Newman were with Kruger's younger brother Dave, who's a Utah recruit. They left a house party and they were attacked by a small group of hecklers who were driving by, and they ended up assaulting the players, stabbing them. Investigators are still a little unclear about what led to the altercation. Kruger had to undergo surgery for the stab wounds. His brother got stitches on his face for cuts, and Newman had 2 4-inch deep stab wounds to his abdomen. They both took about 3 to 4 weeks to recover and missed no time this fall.
Tim, much appreciated. Kruger's been through a lot. 3rd and 14. Smith on the quarterback draw, and there's nothing there. Kruger was 14 years of age when he had to lose a kidney, Glenn, in a 4-wheeler accident, and there he just put a lot of hurt on Air Force's offense.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a little bit of misdirection. They're trying to stop him from coming in, and he did a great job of getting up there and putting the hurt on him, as you said.
Ryan Harrison to punt from his own end zone, a line drive with the wind at his back. Cole dancing from the 47. Good tackle. Luke Hyder made it. As Hyder gets the congratulations on the sideline. Utah will work once again inside of Air Force territory.
Well, going back to Paul Kruger for a minute, big tough kid. For all that, here's your return. Great job of getting the tackle down around those ankles, or he gets another 10 yards on this return. But as I was saying about Paul Kruger, losing a kidney, having a kidney problem, getting stabbed. This is a tough guy out there.
Resilient, to say the least. Brian Johnson gives for Asiata. And now we'll see if Utah wants to run some time off the clock.
More and more, Utah is running power, meaning they're pulling a backside guard to lead through the hole. They've done it a lot today, but they're going to it a lot more, as we see now. That is a way of putting big bodies on smaller bodies and wearing them down.
This Utah team has won 4 of the last 5 against Air Force. The streak was snapped last year at the home of Kyle Whittingham at Rice Eccles in dramatic fashion. Asiata takes a direct snap, and he is tripped up well. Hunter Altman makes the stop. The Bass Pro Shops catch of the game, Glenn. We go back to a defensive play. Thomas to Rembert hooking up.
Hooking up is it, and reeling in the catch. How about this? Your safety's got to get over the top, puts his hand out, smacks it up, and there's Rembert with it. And does a little jig at the end. How about that? That is definitely Bass Pro Shops catch of the day, my friend.
Reggie Rembert taking his cornerback position now as we move towards the 5-minute mark of the fourth. Falcon fans want the ball back here on 3rd and long. Brian Johnson to throw. Protection breaks down. He is sacked again for the 5th time today.
Brian Johnson sacked by Jake Paulson.
Jake Paulson among the national leaders in sacks. He turned 23 yesterday. That side of the statistical story dominated by the Falcons.
Well, listen, this is a 3-man rush, and then because of pressure, a 4th man comes in. You got to do a better job of that if you're the offensive line protecting number 1. Number 2, Brian Johnson has to have that clock in his head, and he just, once he pulls it down, he's not seeing the field.
Sakota hits it. Rembert waits for it. Lets it bounce, and it trickles into the end zone for the touchback. Chance for us to take a commercial break. Utah outlasting Air Force to this point. A dramatic finish ahead on Versus.
I was getting heartburn 2 or 3 times a week, and it was causing disruptions in my life. My doctor recommended I take Prilosec OTC, the #1 doctor-recommended OTC acid reducer. Now heartburn won't keep coming back. Try Prilosec OTC.
It's 106 miles to Gainesville. We got a full tank of gas, a half rack of ribs. It's hot, and we're wearing alligator suits. Head it.
Get more college football on the CBS College Sports Network.
The Suzuki SX4 crossover gets 30 miles per gallon highway, has a pop-up Navi, available all-wheel drive, and starts under $16,000. So just because there's a gas crisis doesn't mean there has to be a fun crisis. The Suzuki SX4. Live large, drive small. Suzuki.
Plaque-causing bacteria is all over your mouth. That's why the new Oral-B Cross-Action Pro Health combines crisscross bristles, gum stimulators, and a tongue cleaner to brush away bacteria for a clean, healthy mouth. The new Cross-Action Pro Health from Oral-B.
Cadets having fun in the stands, apparently not worried by the fact that they're trailing Utah on home field 23-16. College football continues on Versus today, as we thank all the men and women in our technical crew for their efforts. Xavier Stevens gets tracked down in the backfield. There's a flag. Koa Misi brought him down to the earth.
Well, where the flag came in from, it's probably holding, and yes, it is. Great job of pursuit and being where you're supposed to be for Utah.
The penalty is declined. 2nd down.
Glenn, they got the center, Andrew Pipes, who maybe weighs about 250 pounds and is playing center at this level.
Well, what happens is he wants to cut, but he doesn't. So you see him just kind of horse collar and wrestle him down there like he's steer wrestling.
2nd and long for Shea Smith. He'll throw it. Complete to Josh Cousins. Cousins getting more time today with that injury to Spencer Armstrong. Bryce McCain making the stop, the senior and fastest player on this Utah squad.
Is it just me, or did Josh Cousins seem a little surprised that he had the ball in his hands there?
The coaches, Glenn, say he's just a typical academy kid, dependable, willing to do everything they ask of him. Utah with a big advantage in terms of time of possession today. Smith to throw again. Once more on target, just shy of the 1st down yardage.
And he got a pretty generous spot from the linesman there as to where he caught the ball but then stepped back. He'll still be short, but it was that's a good spot. If you're an Air Force fan, you like that.
Robert Johnson made the tackle on Cousins. Johnson was fantastic last year on Versus when Utah throttled UCLA at Rice-Eccles.
They do spot it as a 1st down.
Air Force now up to 7 passing plays today. They won a game against Houston last week with 0 passing yardage. They were 0 for 7. Back to the ground game. Terrell Cole riding hurt on the ball carrier.
Just good pursuit across the board by Utah there. One guy misses or gets taken out, another guy misses or gets taken out, and there's your safety. Terrell Cole coming all the way flying upfield to make that play.
Let's see if Air Force can get the ball in the hands of number 4, their big hitter, Kyle Halderman. He has that big play capability. Utah showing blitz. Smith is going to audible.
Gotta go.
Times are wasted in the play clock. Did they get it off? They did. Smith's pass is batted down.
What that was is they were trying to get them to jump off field with offsides with a cadence, and when it didn't work, they had to go to the sidelines to get a play. They had to fly because that clock was ticking.
Time to check in with Tim Neverett.
You know, there's a lot of unsung heroes each week in college football. Those are the members of the scout team. This week, Tyson Clemens, who was a high school quarterback, runs the option. He ran it all week long. He's done it for the last 3 years on Air Force Week, and as a result, he earned Scout Team MVP, but it seems to be paying dividends for the Utah defense right now, how well he actually ran it.
They're giving a lot of credit, Tim, to Marquise Wilson as well, as Smith throws this one. He's got his man inside Utah territory, connecting with Kevin Fogler again. 2 biggest plays on the day have gone to that 20-year-old sophomore out of Indiana.
Well, here you're going to get a look at it, and you watch. When you run this waggle, if man crosses your face and you realize it's a pass and not a run, and you are a safety, you have got to turn and climb the mountain. You've got to get back, and they are just not getting back. Twice now they've been burned.
37 yards on that pickup, and then Xavier Stevens hauls it ahead inside the 30 of Utah. Xavier Stevens jogging to the sideline for a breather as we drift below 7 minutes to go in regulation time of a real good one between Utah and Air Force. It's the first time all year in this now 4 games that Air Force has trailed in the second half. Asher Clark, he's a quarterback, he can throw it. Clark sprints ahead, there's a flag down as he gets tackled by Mike Wright. They said they were going to get Asher Clark involved, and they did.
Well, they got him involved. It was a throwback to the quarterback, and who do you think had coverage on the quarterback and played it great? Paul Kruger. If we call his name again, we'll call it 5 more times.
Number 63, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay second down.
The kid's just having a game, let me tell you. Here he is down at the bottom of your screen. Watch this. He sniffs it out. He sees that running back go away, and here comes the quarterback. Nowhere to go, and there's the hold. Whipping his shoulder around. That's a great job. You know, it's effusive in our praise of Paul Kruger, but he keeps making the timely play.
Air Force has 2 pretty good freshman quarterbacks waiting in the wings. Tim Jefferson and that man, Asher Clark, who's attempting to throw. Utah with 6 penalties on the day, the last 2 against the Air Force center for holding. Smith throws it on the slant and makes the completion. Fogler getting more and more active here in the second half. Fans wanted a call on Sean Smith.
Well, it'd be tough to know whether he got there earlier or not. You know, it's one of those things that it's so tight on a play like that. The officials do their best job. Maybe the fans have a gripe. They might have a legitimate gripe.
Jay Smith, who came in with just 90 yards passing in the first 3 games, airing it out here in the second half. Smith lobbing this one up. Jump ball caught! Terrific catch by Cousins.
What a catch. What a throw by Shea Smith. Shea Smith doesn't throw the ball this much. He doesn't have a great arm, remember? He puts it where only his guy can get it. Down and outside, over the top and outside. Look at this. This ball, only his man can grab it. There it is. What a catch. What a throw. Hey, defense was good, but you can't stop that.
Xavier Stevens is the tailback over the top. There was whistles before the play. A 29-yard hookup between Cousins and Smith. And Air Force is knocking on the door late in the 4th.
Illegal substitution. Defense had 12 players on the field. Half the distance, still goal. Replay first down.
Well, twice that's happened to him, but you know what? Risk and reward. You got 12 guys on. What's the penalty? 1 yard. I know they didn't mean to do it, but it's not something that's gonna kill you.
Double tight end set. Hyder in motion. Stevens nosing towards the goal line. No signal yet. No signal yet. Touchdown, Falcons.
Talk about want to. He could have been stopped. Utah had good leverage, good pad level. That was want to. He got hit. He just kept driving the legs to get in.
Xavier Stevens and Kyle Lumpkin, the two of them on the sidelines. They're each other's worst critics. They're happy right now. Harrison chips it on through, and this game is tied once again. Fans in Falcon Land erupt. Stevens with all that hustle, heart, and desire to the tie game.
Get inside the heart and soul of college football with the CBS College Sports Network.
I'm fired up about this college football season.
Live games featuring bowl contenders.
Rack it up, another score. To the ground, over the shoulder, touchdown.
Exclusive inside access to hundreds of teams. Recruiting expertise and more.
When you've got Division I prospects, word gets out in a hurry.
Get more college football 24/7 on the CBS College Sports Network.
If you plan on building, furnishing, or remodeling your home, or you're just tired of paying retail, don't spend another dollar. Now, you can enjoy an incredible selection of top-quality, name-brand products priced up to 50% less than retail. Take the first step towards saving hundreds or even thousands of dollars on nearly anything for your home. Call for your free Direct Buy Insider's Guide to Buying Direct and learn what retailers don't want you to know. Each full-color page of the Insider's Guide is packed with powerful information. Discover some of the hundreds of thousands of products available from over 700 name brand manufacturers. Everything, including furniture, cabinets, appliances, flooring, lighting fixtures, and so much more, all without retail markups. At Direct Buy, you can't afford to miss this valuable opportunity. Call the number on your screen now to get your own Direct Buy Insider's Guide. You'll also receive a visitor's pass and map to the Direct Buy showroom nearest you. The sooner you call, the sooner you'll be buying direct. So call now.
At College Football Central, Oregon mounting a comeback. They've gone to their fourth quarterback. Freshman Darren Thomas has thrown 2 fourth-quarter touchdown passes. Oregon has the ball again in midfield with 4 minutes to play. Great finishes abounding, including in Colorado Springs. Gentlemen?
Ready to go.
Yeah, we definitely have one here, Ted. Fans in the stands loving it on a homecoming Saturday. Threatening skies over Falcon Stadium. Just 5 minutes and change left in this fourth quarter. Ryan Harrison with a wind at his back, driving Reed 7 yards into the end zone. Utah will start from its own 20. Glenn, here's one for you. Only one time in Air Force Academy history have they beaten a top 20 team and then gone on to a bowl game. Troy Calhoun told us it was 1963. They beat Washington. They went to the Gator Bowl. They're trying to take down a ranked team today.
Well, you know, the thing is this. I think he'll not even talk about all that. What he'll talk about is this drive. This is what he's interested in right now. His defense holding Utah, getting field position, because they've got the wind at their back, Air Force does. If they can hold and win field position, they got a field goal try. They can win the game right there outright.
Air Force has a bye next week. They get set to play Navy. That game will be on Versus. Air Force has never done very well in a game directly preceding a Navy tilt. Our good friends at the Elias Sports Bureau tell us of that.
That they do, you know. It's one of those odd trends, and maybe that's why they looked a little unfocused to start the game.
On the delay, Darrell Mack comes breezing through tacklers. Near the 35, Anthony Wright tripped him up. Let's see how determined Utah is to win it in regulation.
A real chess match going on now between these teams. The reason, the clock, it's ticking. It's under 5 minutes. You want to score, you want to put pressure on Air Force, but you don't want to do it so fast you give them a clock.
Mack looking for a hole. No hole afforded him. Reggie Rembert was among the tacklers. Air Force has won its last 7 at this stadium. The last team to beat him here was Utah on a Louis Sakota last-second field goal.
And now this is a position, second down, long. You're between the 30s. Air Force look for them to apply pressure, whether it's a zone dog, a zone blitz. This is where they'll do it. They'll try to get Brian Johnson where he'll hold that ball and take that sack and push him a little farther back. They've been very effective throughout the game in this situation.
You caution me on these instances to keep your eyes peeled for Chris Thomas and Aaron Kirchhoff on 2nd down and 8. Brian Johnson walking towards the sideline. Utah takes the timeout. It's once again turned out to be a nail-biter for Kyle Whittingham. And on any given Saturday, anything can happen with Versus College football. Next Saturday, we roll into the home of the 12th man. Texas A&M and the Aggies taking on the Black Knights of Army. Versus College football Saturday coverage begins at 12:30 Eastern. It's wild out here. See how the Aggies stack up against one of those service academies.
Army has been struggling as of late, but they're desperate for a win. You're going to come into College Station, and you're going to give Texas A&M everything they can handle.
Utah has homecoming weekend next weekend for them in Salt Lake City. For now, they're trying to spoil Air Force's homecoming. Darrell Mack starting to heat up in the second half. 2nd down and 8. Falcons showing blitz. Here they come off the edge. Johnson throws, and it's behind his intended target. He misfires for David Reed.
And you wonder if Brian Johnson isn't feeling the heat a little bit, being sacked 4 or 5 times in the game. You know, he's back there. He sees that pressure coming. He's ready. Here you go. Here's Reed right across the middle on the drag. Ball just way behind it. Brian Johnson, I don't know if Brian Johnson didn't pick him up or whether the pressure got to Brian and he threw behind him because of that.
3rd down. 3rd down time. Look out for Braden Godfrey as the Falcons try to stir it up here at their home field. Johnson having difficulties hearing. They rush 3. Johnson fires, complete. 1st down yardage as he zipped it right in there for Freddie Brown.
Well, Air Force Academy does not have a monopoly on kids that are gritty and tough and disciplined. That's a great job by Brian Johnson. Watch him stand in this pocket. There's actually 4 or 5 guys in there and delivers an absolute strike to Freddie Brown on the sideline. And Freddie Brown with a guy draped all over him. Good job of catching it. Both these teams are just, they're taking it to the next level in this 4th quarter.
A gain of 12 and Louis Sakota over on the sideline wondering if he's going to get a chance to be a game-winning hero again as the Falcons come to call defensively. You go back to 2006, the last time Utah was here, and it was Sakota who did it to Air Force late.
Yeah, and if there's one guy you'd like to have in that situation, Louis Sakota is the guy. Now, we watched earlier into a stiff wind, missed one, but if you can look now, the wind is completely dead. Flag straight down. He's got a better shot now going this way than he did just 20 minutes ago.
He's getting so much hype in Salt Lake City at the University of Utah. Sakota is. The women's gymnastics team is calling him King Louis. I like that.
Yeah, and he deserves it for what he's done.
Asiata bowling his way deeper into Air Force territory. Tied up at 23. Here's Tim Neverett on the sideline.
Well, now you're thinking Louis Sakota time, and if Utah can manage the clock and run it down. One thing, the wind has been blowing out of the south toward the north almost all day. The flags now are hanging right by the poles. The wind has died for Utah at just the right time.
And remember, Tim, Sakota missed from 48 yards going in this direction back in the 1st half. 3rd down. They'll pound it ahead. Asiata breaks loose. Asiata gets it to the 30, left the ball on the field, but the whistles had blown. Rembert will get credit for the tackle. Asiata, as the game goes along, that power wears you down.
Yeah, it does. And this is a little belly following his big slaughter off right around. You get out there, now he's got the power and the strength to start knocking some people over. But, hey, we're right at about the 2-minute mark. You got the ball on the 30. You need to get some yards for your kicker. So watch him to keep it. They'll try to keep it on the hash where Louis Sakota's most comfortable, and they're going to try to get themselves another 10 yards in the next minute and a half.
Almost 24 first downs today. Johnson Another rushing play. Mack stalled there. Chris Thomas lowered the boom on him.
Great job by Thomas coming up. Great job by Mack of realizing I don't want to go out of bounds. I don't want to stop that clock.
A timeout taken. Brandon Reeves needing a breather. Folks, hockey's back on Versus. October 9th, an NHL doubleheader. Opening up in Hockeytown in Detroit. The reigning Stanley Cup champion Red Wings with Datsuk and Zetterberg facing off against the Maple Leafs. Then it's out to Colorado. The Avalanche play host to the Boston Bruins. NHL coverage on Versus beginning October 9th.
Well, as I said before we went to the break before this timeout, you got to credit Darryl Mack. He didn't run out of bounds. He knew he didn't want to stop the clock. That forced Air Force Academy to burn a timeout, stop the clock.
So many of these games, Glenn, are tight ones between these two teams.
You look right there. 10 of the last 11 have been decided by 10 points or less. I think coming into this game, most people have thought Utah by 10, maybe 2 touchdowns, and instead Air Force gritty play, forcing turnovers, capitalizing on turnovers. They've kept this game close, and here we sit.
Two teams, both 3-0, 2 of the 4 flagship squads in the Mountain West Conference, if you will. If BYU, Utah, and TCU win today, likely three teams in the top 25 for the first time in Mountain West Conference history. Kyle Whittingham knows he wants to brag about that, but first, there's some work to do against Coach Calhoun's squad. 1:38 to go. Darrell Mack jumping into the pile.
Now that play was designed to put the ball right in the middle of the field, right between the hashes. Air Force takes another timeout. Now you're straight down the pipe for Louis Sakota when you kick.
Darrell Mack, one of the workhorses in the backfield. You know the Falcons, their coaches are going to be talking about perhaps stripping or punching the football, trying to force a turnover. Once we're through here in Colorado Springs, we'll turn it over to Ted Rowland and Kelly at College Football Central. Plenty of highlights and scores to come in what has been a great football Saturday around the nation.
Well, no game better than this one we're watching right here. Tied with 1:33 to go. We've had turnovers. We've had great defensive plays. We've had some offensive fireworks. We've got it all right here in this game.
The last time Air Force beat a ranked team, you got to go back to 2002. Louis Sakota warming up in the wings, hoping to get his chance to lift visiting Utah today.
And Utah must be careful, must protect the ball, and they must not have a penalty. Everything they do has to be designed to be for safety and to move the ball forward a yard or 2.
Darrell Mack is in the backfield with Colt Sampson on 3rd and 5. Mack finds a crease. Mack running for pay dirt. Darrell Mack inside the 10. It's 1st and goal, Utah, with 1:24 to go.
A great job on a little misdirection. You got guys going either way, and it confused the defense. Look at Mack here, follows his big tight end and tackle, gets into the backfield and starts running. Now, Utah, look for them to move the ball. And here's another look at it here. See that motion and that pulling creates traffic, and it creates confusion in your linebackers, and that's what happened. Utah will run the ball now and bring it back to the center of the field so you don't have an extreme angle for your kicker.
Brian Johnson demonstrating some poise now on this late drive in a hostile environment. Falcons fans roaring, and yet Utah moving smartly. This is 1st and goal from the 9. Utah jumped out to a 9-0 advantage. If you're just tuning in with us, that made those dressed in red very, very happy. Air Force rallied back with 16 unanswered. Some bookkeeping from the officials. Referee Bill Athan says the clock should read 1:17.
Air Force fans not too happy about that.
Thank you.
Now Air Force really needs to strip the ball. They need to play with that determination we talked about. They gotta win pad level. They gotta strip at the ball.
Utah hoping to go 2-0 in conference. They smacked UNLV a couple weeks ago. Darrell Mack, determination. Mack reaching for the goal line. Touchdown! Darrell Mack.
Well, credit Utah, #1, for going for the touchdown. #2, responding to a touchdown that tied the game with a touchdown of your own.
And the guys who really helped to get it done, the big guys up front, that offensive line in the last 2 running plays, gashing through that Air Force defense.
Opening up holes, well designed. You get some misdirection, you get guys pulling, and what that does is little guys will attack gaps, and you'll bust them open and get seams and gashes. Great job by Utah on that offensive line.
Sakota into the wind to make sure it's 7. He does. It's 30-23 for Utah. Darrell Mack with a pair of second-half touchdowns as we visit the latest.
Well, here you go. You're pulling your Corey Ciuli around, and what that does, everybody kind of overshifts, opens up a big gash. But credit Darrell Mack, man. There's a lot of want-to here. Jumping over one guy, driving the legs, and reaching out for the score.
There was one stretch last year where he had 5 straight 100-plus yard rushing games. He had 48 yards on that potential game-winning drive alone. 3 rushing TDs on the day. Took him just over 4 minutes at clutch crunch time. Darrell Mack, another 100-yard performance.
You know, every team has a 2-minute offense, and every team has a 4-minute offense. Your 4-minute offense is when you're ahead or you're trying to tie or win a game, and you got to eat the clock. I think right now Kyle Whittingham wishes he had a 5-minute offense, because that's what he did. He used his 4 minutes, and there's still a minute left to go for this Air Force squad.
A couple of playmakers back there to return this kick from Vroman. Anthony Wright and Reggie Rember. This kick comes into a very stiff breeze, as the winds are swirling now at Falcon Stadium. Roman leans into this one and driving it over the head of Anthony Wright. The wind switched at just the right time.
Yeah, right after that touchdown, the wind switched. Is now out of the north, coming to the south. Utah very, very lucky with the way the wind has played in their favor.
Jay Smith throwing the ball much more effectively. How about that last drive? 88 of 90 through the air, and that's for Air Force. You don't normally say that.
You don't normally say that, but credit Jay Smith not only with understanding he had to throw the ball, making really nice, timely throws, and then the big one when he had to have it.
Fodler and Cousins have come to life here in the second half, the wideouts for Air Force on a day where they're without Spencer Armstrong. Smith to throw. Picked off. Right into the waiting arms of Joe Dale. And that should secure it for Utah.
Joe Dale playing center field on the hash, didn't even have to move. A little bit of pressure in Jay Smith's face, not a lot. Joe Dale just sitting there waiting on it.
Troy Calhoun, unbeaten in this stadium, staring at defeat now. Joe Dale with a pickpocket. And Utah begins its celebration in the final minute of a really, really good game.
Hard fought, lots of discipline. When things could have gone bad for either team decided it wouldn't go bad, and they'd fight back, and they would play. Instead of the turnovers, they would keep fighting and quick change. They did all those. Great game by both teams.
We started this day talking about the respect Kyle Whittingham had for the members of the Air Force Academy Falcons. And nothing that they did today will diminish that. They battled to the very, very end.
You know, he said about his respect. He talked about the respect for these kids. We've talked about every time we come here, every time we cover this team, you're struck by the maturity level, the dedication, the focus of these kids. And I'll tell you what, at no time do I ever look around here and just say, boy, we're in bad hands. I look and go, man, these kids are something special. The coaches are special. It's a great thing Air Force has going here.
They are the leaders who eventually will defend our country. And they gave Brian Johnson and the Utah Utes a terrific battle this afternoon. Glenn, I'm envious. You and Tim will have Air Force and Navy in early October. That will be another gem. A highly spirited game. Utah with those 2 touchdowns in the fourth, on their way to outlasting Air Force.
Coming out with that third quarter drive that tied the game was everything. It set the tone for the rest of the game. They win in the third quarter, and they finish in the fourth.
Coach Calhoun will come across. He'll shake hands with Kyle Whittingham. Kyle says a lot of people talk about respect, but he's always thought the only way to earn it is to go out and get it. And they did it again. Utah goes to 4-0, earning the respect of the Falcons and upsetting the homecoming day crowd. Glenn, Tim, and I will have more thoughts on the other side. Utah's a winner today with college football on Versus.
Call them overlooked. Call them giant killers.
East Carolina over West Virginia. Believe it, folks, it's not going to be an upset. East Carolina is the better football team.
But don't call them Cinderella. Nationally ranked ECU is on a mission to prove that they belong with the big boys.
East Carolina, they will get it done.
Watch East Carolina take on Houston, only on the CBS College Sports Network. Check your local listings.
And we're back with the all-new Volkswagen Tiguan. Have you bought the clip? Let's roll it. Compact and power-packed. To the rescue! Bravo!
No matter how demanding my workout is, I'm not done until I finish it with EAS Myoplex. Taken within 30 minutes after my workout, the high-quality protein in Myoplex helps me refuel and build lean muscle. That way, I don't waste my workout. Now I'm done. Grab your EAS Myoplex at a leading retailer near you, or for your free sample, go to EAS.com.
Jack Link's Beef Jerky presents Messin' with Sasquatch.
5 feet from the hole, right here.
Hey, big fella, want a cold one?
Yeah, that's it. Come on, you can do it.
Jack Link's Jerky. Feed your wild side.
Retailers don't want you to see the information about to be disclosed.
Hi, I'm Tony Galata. This is my wife, Carrie Galata. This is our house, my wife's dream house. And we furnish most everything in this house with products from Direct Buy. We purchased the breakfast table and chairs. We looked at that table in some other places.
They ran around $3,500 and we picked it up for around $1,500.
If you're building, remodeling, or simply redecorating a room, there's now a way to buy virtually everything you need at prices you never imagined possible.
We've saved, I think, well over $20,000.
Just on our kitchen alone, we saved almost $10,000.
It adds up to about a $30,000 to $40,000 savings overall.
Call the number on your screen now to receive your free insider's guide to buying direct. Plus, you'll also receive a free visitor's pass for an exclusive tour of your local Direct Buy showroom. Call right now to get started buying the Direct Buy way. Stop paying retail and become part of Direct Buy, the private members-only showroom and design center. Don't wait another minute. Pick up the phone and call now.
The sign says it all in a battle of unbeatens. Utah's the only one that's left standing as we send it to Tim Neverett with Brian Johnson.
Another big road win. You beat an undefeated team. You go to 2-0 in conference play, and you remain unbeaten. How do you assess this one?
In order to, accomplish our goal, which is obviously win the Mountain West Conference title, you got to win tough road games. And, personally, I couldn't have played any worse in the first half. And, my teammates, it was never any panic. We knew we would come out and be efficient in the second half, and we found a way to get the win. So, I couldn't be more proud of the group of guys we have as teammates and the way we stick together, the way we battled through this game. A tough environment, and we were able to come away with the win. So, we're happy with that.
Brian, congratulations on the win.
All right, thank you.
Joe, back upstairs.
Tim, thanks. An honest assessment for Tim, for Glenn, for all the men and women in the crew. Joe Beninati thanking you for your time. Utah wins this one as we